How's it going? My name's
Good man.
Mikey Walsh. I'm introducing Mick Sowry. He is the, you know, wears a lot of hats, but we can call him head creative director, the guy who lays the magazine out, the guy who keeps the magazine looking the way it does, and also photo editor and also does some text editing. So really a giant driver behind the actual like product and so today just really wanted to talk about our second edition because it just came out about 4 days ago now or 3 days ago. Um, and funny enough, they're on a plane right now on their way to Australia. So he hasn't even held it yet, but obviously he laid it out and knows the ins and outs. And so it came out amazing. So yeah, just wanted to kind of first off talk a little bit about how we kind of came in contact and like, how we how you ended up working with Youth Magazine and then how we ended up meeting and is a great story. So
Yeah. Well, thanks, Mikey. Yeah, so how it happened was, as you know, you asked me for some of my photos.
yep.
And the thing that struck me was just I suppose you'd call it the chutzpah, like this young fella from California
What's that
ringing
word? What word did you use?
chutzpah. It's Yutzpahah. I think it is. I think it's a Jewish word.
I don't know if I've ever heard of that.
Yeah. So, or yeah, it means like lots of front, like
Yeah, yeah.
so. And I said yes, of course, as you know, and but I said I'd love to see what you're doing because I had a background in magazines or part of the things that I've done, and I just wanted to see the design. And when you sent it through, it was very clear you were trying to learn it on the fly. And I went, holy cow, these guys are trying to launch a magazine, and I know only too well how hard it is. Um, and I thought, well, I've got to help here. So, as you know, again, I did a sort of a little guidebook of how to lay out pages in a grid and how to choose typefaces and all of that. And I knew you and Carson were working your butts off, and I think a couple of months later you sent me through like 60 pages, and I went, oh God, this is going to be really hard for them. And I was at a point in my life where I thought, well, I can actually help you. So I just said, send it all to me, and I'll do the first issue for you.
Yeah.
And and so um, and I have to add though that it wouldn't happen without you and Carson, because the energy that you guys were doing in chasing the articles and really working towards your market and learning it was just so inspiring to me. So, as you know, we did the first edition, and I tried to maintain a few of the design ideas that you developed to travel through the magazine, and develop some of my own within that sort of like brief that you had, and it came out really well, and I was super happy with it. But entering this second issue, obviously the brief opens up, and I thought, well, it might as well. And I think something to do moving forward is to keep evolving the magazine, like evolving its personality, just like say Surfer or Surfing Magazine did, or Thrasher did back in the
Yeah.
day, and just see where we can take it, because it's reviving an old medium in being print, and it'd be a dream if we can get back to having these things that you can keep instead of
Yeah.
having this ephemeral thing that you're flicking through Instagram and it's disappeared, and suddenly it's 3 months down your feed, and you're scrolling till you're dead before you get to that page. Whereas you've got your stack of magazines, and they also form a part of the mythology of your life as you grow older, as I know too well. so,
Yeah.
so this new issue, like there were things that we discovered, like young Tia Milani from New York, that sent through an idea to me for my magazine, Great Ocean Quarterly, and I realised we're not doing that. We do that sporadically, and I thought he'd be perfect for youth. and
Yeah.
he did that wonderful animation and illustration for the last issue. And then you had the idea of, or you and he had the idea of doing the Where's Wally or
Yeah.
Where's Waldo. We call it Where's Wally down here. To to add this that spread to this magazine, and so it started to grow. And with the building of it, I was experimenting, and I think too for someone at my age, to be putting my 19-year-old hat on
Hmm.
and being able to design to that market. And like, give to background, I've surfed all my life. I've been surfing for since I was 14, 13, 14, and been in the water all my life, but skateboarded and still surf, obviously. Um, and so I'm very connected. And I live just near Bells Beach in Australia, for all your crew that don't know where it is, or know where it is, but don't know that's where I'm doing it from.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's fantastic because it also proves the glory of the internet, because we're doing a magazine and we're a Pacific Ocean apart, and we talk
Yeah.
daily like we're in the next room.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
crazy. It's definitely
yeah,
crazy. And I mean, I think all that even got heightened with COVID from people all working at home. It's like maybe if we were doing this now, whatever, call it 6 years ago, maybe Dropbox isn't as advanced, WeTransfer isn't there, and
yeah.
it's more difficult. But like now it's just at a point where like literally I can upload a file and 2 seconds later you're like, okay, I just got it. And we're just kind of constantly going back and forth,
Yeah.
which is great. So
And it's created multiple friendships. So the thing I like almost most about it is this ability to have friendships that are bridging generations, but also helping you guys and the young writers that you've got coming on board develop their crafts. And obviously, my I hope is that the team builds where I can, because I didn't take this on to suddenly become, like the I'm doing this because it's a good thing to do.
yeah,
It's connecting, and it's good, and it's growth. It's full of growth and all of those things. And as we get to the point where we can have someone filling my role over your end, and I can step back and maybe be a mentor and
yeah.
sort
I
of
mean,
over, because I've just got a lot of knowledge that's just happened because I've been doing it a long time. It doesn't
yeah.
the
I
the,
mean,
the
I'm sorry, what were we gonna sorry.
I was just going to say the levels of talent that
Yeah.
you've got at your end are great, but I know what I was like at 20, and I wasn't worth it's so much when you've done it for so long. It's nothing to
Yeah.
do with talent or anything like that. It's to do with time.
Well, I mean, me and Carson are super lucky to actually have people on the team now that, first of all, importantly, are like in our generation, they're young. And secondly, they approached us, a lot of them.
Yeah,
And it's kind of interesting how like the team's grown very naturally, but it's really cool because, first of all, they all have like insane drive. They see the vision, they really believe in it. And then the other part too is like they're happy to learn. They don't think they know it all. They want to learn from you. And so I'm excited. Like, Danny's like a super smart guy, super talented. I'm excited for as the issues keep coming, he'll be learning things. Obviously, our writers have been awesome. Shannon absolutely killed this edition.
yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
getting, actually funny story on that. At our launch party a few days ago, there was a guy who came in quite early before as we were setting up and bought a copy.
Mm.
And he said he'd worked at Surfer Magazine back in the day, which it's funny because I get that a lot. I feel like I know 100 people who used to work at Surfer Magazine at this point. But he was reading it and he's like, dude, who's this Shannon guy? Like, I want his email. I want to like, tell him how awesome the whatever
Right.
story he was reading. I think it was the Arrow story, which is amazing
Yeah,
in this issue.
yeah, beautiful story.
Um,
Yeah,
the Arrow Itala story. Yeah. Um, that was a very kind of interesting one because me and Carson just direct messaged him and not expecting a response, got one I think right away, and he was just super cool, like zero ego. I mean, he's been a pro snowboarder for 20 years, and to just be like super happy to jump on board right away was amazing. And then to have his filmer slash photographer who has followed him around his entire career be right on board as well with us,
Mm.
um, and really just give us their archive. Like we had access to their archive in a way where it was like we could really kind of go any direction with the story. And I like how we tried to talk about the past, but also kind of tie it into like what he's doing with what he did with Milestone, the movie, and
Mm.
yeah, into present day. So I think that's got to be my favorite.
Well, I mean, to because of the quality of the photographs that they sent, it was a dream to work on.
Yeah,
But oddly enough, that's almost been de rigueur with it. You know, it's just every article that I've had to work on, I've had good photographs to work with. You know, you've got the talent pool in SoCal and generally in the world. As soon as you start doing a magazine, the people that do stuff for magazines are begging to have an outlet for their work, and
yeah,
they'll say yes. And I mean, it's obviously we want to grow to the point where everyone's getting paid their due instead of what can be afforded, but
yeah,
they understand the effort that's going into doing something like that and the risks. And as you know too well, it's like you're working incredibly hard for no expectation, and but I've got on the screen in front of me here the tiled thing of every page, and I'm really, really, really pleased with it. You know, there's obviously always things I might tweak this, tweak that.
yeah,
What, but the big question is always, what can I do better next time? How can we improve it? But that's all predicated on what we get in our new set of articles. You know? And obviously you've already started to send some stuff through, which is great. And I'm sort of steeling myself for the next 2 or 3 months of sitting in this chair and banging it out again, you know. It,
yeah,
but it's fun to do, and it's really special. I think it's a great idea. The name's great. I think it's a great brand, as you're discovering, and we've talked about a lot. The potential for Yüth is fantastic. It's just getting it in front of people. Again, you live in probably the best place in the world for that,
yeah,
in San Clemente in Southern California, and you've got the whole West Coast, you've got the East Coast, and you've got the interior because you're covering everything. You've got snowboarding, you're going to have motocross coming up.
yep,
Um,
yep.
the other day, I had a pro motocross rider follow me out of the blue. I'm going, how the hell did that happen?
Interesting,
Yeah. So
interesting.
you might have been talking to somebody or something like that.
Yeah, probably. But
Yeah.
I mean, I think right now in America, when it comes to like action sports, moto is it's at the front lines. Like we ended up basically being able to walk the track at Anaheim 1, thanks to Adam Watts. And we were walking the track and seeing just the jumps and the size of them. They're taller than you, and you're on the dirt and you're looking up like like I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
talk about it's kind of like you're standing under like a big wave.
yeah,
If you hit, I mean, obviously the wave, you can hit the reef and there's some dangerous parts about that, drown, but
yeah,
these guys get torn up and walking the track and then later sitting and watching the race, you kind of get more of like a respect for like, wow, like this guy just went down and he walked up and walked away from it. It's like insane. It's
yeah,
unbelievable. And the bikes are 4 times their weight. I don't know the exact number, but they're so heavy and like they land on top of them, under them.
yeah, yeah.
So I think it's an exciting sport, and the place was packed. And I was like, this is a giant fan base that we need to touch. So
So,
that's something to
how
look
to do,
forward to.
yeah, I think in the end, what you're talking about is a whole bunch of activities that are um, a person with a thing doing something other than a team sport. You know, like it's boards, bikes, skateboards. Um, you probably even end up doing stuff with snowmobiles and stuff like that. You know, it's just
Yeah.
it's um, it's board sports and like mountain biking, obviously motocross, all of that. It's one person and a thing, and
Almost,
plus we've got art and we've got some. we've got good writing, and I really think that that part of the deal is not just pictures,
Yeah.
obviously,
Yeah.
and music. And the piece we did for eighth ball rather, I loved that one when I was doing that because the guys sent through really, really, really good black and white shots.
Yeah. Caden
And,
Williams.
and Caden, that's right, and he contributed, I think, to our first issue as well. And so
I don't know. Did he?
I'm sure his name came up in the first. Didn't he do the stuff where we had the
Oh, Caden Williams has been doing a lot of videos for us as well.
okay, yeah,
His,
no, yeah, right.
cool thing about Caden is he's, a young videographer who's just grinding,
Mm,
and he's really mastering. He takes the color really serious.
yeah,
I talk to him and I'm like, he'll kind of put two. Sometimes he'll put two side by side that are colored in different ways and go like, which
yeah,
one do you like? And then
yeah, yeah,
like
yeah,
he goes so hard on the color, and I'm like, dude, it looks great. And he's like, no, like we need to, like I need to get it perfect hue and all this. And he spends hours working on projects just with the color, and that's kind of what he wants to go into. But
yeah.
that's why his shots are so awesome in black and white because he has a great balance between like not too
Uh,
dark.
yeah, well, they're good shots, and then I have a free reign with doing the layout with it, and can be pretty creative with it, and I think that's the thing that happens all the way through it. Obviously, it's trying to make it dynamic and lively and fun. And the other article that I really liked doing was the skateboard wheels one,
Yep, Matt French.
Matt French, because the design work was off tap. You know, it was just incredible. And the shots that he supplied were great. All obviously skateboard wheels from the side, so that there's just these wonderful bits of artwork in the circle. And it was a gimme how to do the layout. You know, it was like
Yeah, it's like
you
two.
don't you don't get in the way of that. You just give it.
Well, I mean, Bones Wheels was super awesome in providing like his entire archive, and he has,
Yes,
funny enough, 99 wheels now.
yeah. Well, it was I was begging for choice. There were
Yeah,
so many, and obviously we did it over three spreads, but I could have gone for another four. You know.
mile of wheels. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, yeah,
I love. Yeah, I want to keep finding those stories because there's obviously always like where we live, like the layups, like okay, this surfer rips and he's young and he's an up and coming guy, but like to me, the coolest stuff that like you may not just like it's kind of the stuff you don't hear about. Like, kids in San Clemente talk about who's the latest up and coming ripper, but someone might not be talking about like the artist behind the scenes of Bones' sick designs. And so that's kind of like if we can provide that with the magazine, I want to keep doing that because there's so many people like that are super talented. Like I know there's a guy, I'm forgetting his name, but he does a lot of the art for Catch Surf, and he has a whole kind of thing where he has this character that's all hairy.
yeah.
And I think that'd be like a great story, just the people kind of behind the industry.
Well, it's behind the industry, but it's that they those guys and girls are creating the iconography of your lives.
And look
You
at
know?
Drew Brophy in our first issue too.
Yeah,
That's a
exactly,
great example.
totally, and it's so important to recognize that and reflect it, and just tell the stories behind it, and obviously the athletes, which are always great for stories. And like I'm just looking up at the Kaloes thing with Stecco and the evolution of that. Oh yeah, right. Okay. And 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 that was such a because he supplied the photos and they were so sort of ghetto, I suppose you'd
Well,
call it.
that
You
was
know,
probably I would say just speaking for you, I know you probably won't say it, but that was probably the toughest one for you to lay out. And the reason being, it was kind of cool though, because Kalohe's like, okay, I'm starting a clothing company, but it's not just a clothing company. There's movies and there's a lot of stuff going
yeah,
on. But I'm gonna grab a disposable camera and shoot it myself.
yeah,
And
yeah.
it's kind
And
of
I actually liked it because it gave me permission to fuck with it. Excuse the French. I'm allowed to say that
yeah, yeah.
because I've done it already.
No worries.
um, and I'm Australian after all. And so I was, sort of cutting bits out and mixing it up, and actually it was in that piece, which was one of the first ones that I did, that I hit on the headline idea, that the way I was doing the headlines by um, having two fonts laid over each other with the bold and then the lowercase lighter font in metallic. And the reason I did that was to just make it a little bit more multidimensional, and so that I could article by article play with it and see where it took
Yeah.
me. And I like it, and I'll probably move it into the next one. But we've got a style starting to work. It's cohesive, and but it still allows a decent amount of editorial. Like if we've got a 1,000 word article, I can make it fit. It's got lots of air, which is a great thing. And yeah, I can't even say whether I've got a favourite piece, because every one that I did, um, I enjoyed, because they throw up challenges.
Yeah.
And even with Thornton's article on, now what was the guy, the Easy Rider article,
Yeah,
the long
yeah. Tommy Coleman.
Tommy Coleman. Yeah,
That's one of my favorite looking articles, even
yeah, exactly.
crazy B-roll shots to back up really amazing shots. And yeah, it's pretty cool.
And it was layering up. Shannon wrote his first opening, like his intro was doing this analogy of surfing and music, and it was quite highbrow. And I went, whoa, he's really gone out on a limb here. But that's what I like about Shannon's writing, because he's really aspiring to write at a high level, and I think that's a great thing to push us into being taken seriously
Yeah.
as beyond just well, it's a youth mag, but it's a thinking youth mag. But that's what I wanted for you guys to have, and I think that's where your minds were at in the end anyway, because you're trying to, as you said to me right in the beginning, dragging kids off screens.
Yeah.
Mind you, we see the odd QR code around, so they've got to go back on the screen to get into it.
Yeah. I mean, I hear that all the time. It's like, I know but it's more just like we see, you have to do the Instagram content to sell the magazines, but then
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like, okay, what's the
yeah.
other
It's
option? It's like,
it's
okay, so
controversial, but I
yeah,
do love QR codes, because they're this ability to hook you straight through to the follow up. So it makes every article multi-dimensional if you wanted to, because you
yeah.
can, refer to a video and get someone to see it.
Well,
And
and what else is cool too is like with the Where's Waldo thing, we kind of touched on it with the Tio thing,
mm,
but there's a lot more involvement you can get out of someone going, okay, I'm gonna pull my phone out, and with the Where's Waldo thing, it was kind of like Where's Youth, right? And you have to find the Youth logo,
yes, yes,
and it's kind of cool that someone can scan the QR code, enter how many logos they found,
mm,
and be entered into a giveaway for whatever it is. Maybe we're giving away a hoodie at that point or a hat, but it's kind of it's just kind of the sleeker way to do things because back when I look at old surfer magazines, I see surf contest signups, but instead it's just a flyer that you could perforate and tear out and sign all your info on. So it's really just those have always, QR codes have always been around, but they were just more clunky and you had to.
well, the different, and yeah, this is they were the QR codes before QR codes existed, is what
Yep.
I'm saying.
Yep.
But yeah, so look, and really from any other point of view, I'm just sort of trying to look through the mag, because I've got it up there.
I mean, I feel like we have to talk about our cover athlete and that whole kind of
Oh, of course. Yeah,
that's
well,
great.
yeah, Cole, that was obviously, his haircut had to be in it.
Yeah.
And initially it was going to be the back of his head was going to be the cover. And as I was doing it, I realized if I had his head full page on the cover, I needed to get it really big. And then if I put Yüth at the top, as the previous masthead was, it would cover the top of his head, or his head has to be too small. So
Yeah.
that's we opted to try the shoot with Tom Surveillance, and yours and Tom's suggestion, I think it was down at the steps.
Yeah.
And,
So,
and
yeah. I mean, about the location, Cole. So myself, actually, I live near Cole Houshman. He lives right by a beach called Lost Winds.
yeah,
it's a beach break. It doesn't really break. No one really surfs there seriously. Like it's more a place you go hang out on the beach, and if it's breaking, you maybe paddle out
Catch.
and just catch a
Yeah.
couple, but it's pretty shallow normally, and it's not a great spot, but it's kind of like the hangout spot for kids in the town, whether it's like high schoolers, college, whatever. There's some volleyball courts and all that stuff. So if you're from San Clemente, you'll recognize the stairs because they're a really long set of stairs, and no beach kind of near us has it that long, and maybe unless you go up to Laguna. And Cole lives right there. Obviously, I don't need to specify anymore, but he lives near Lost Winds to the point where it's a place he grew up going down to and hanging out at, and probably still does. So we thought it would just be cool. We were talking about, okay, we live in San Clemente. Do we want to do it at Trestles? But then it's like, okay,
Yeah.
everyone's seen it. It's been done. It's like whatever. So we wanted to go for that local spot, and I think the people in San Clemente really appreciate it and probably notice.
Yeah.
And that's where we're out of. So it's just a cool little thing. And to have Tom shoot it, it was, it's one of those rare times where, well, actually, both of our cover shots have been like kind of in-house shots, and like we've been a part of. So to have, we wanted to have Tom shoot it just because it's just kind of like an ode to like just Surfer Magazine and old mags back in the day, because he has
Yeah.
over 100 cover shots. He's a legendary photographer, and giant fan of him, especially now after meeting him. Just a great guy. So we were like, okay, no one better to have Tom shoot the shot of Cole, and obviously we had to wait until Cole had his hair prepped up for
Yeah.
the season.
Yeah.
But yeah, Ryder Biolis, funny enough, is she does a lot of the lost art on the surfboards. She kind of has been doing Cole's hair here and there when it comes to like dyeing it with the cool design.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So she ended up doing that spiderweb design, and I was like, okay, it's perfect. So let's kind of take that Dennis Rodman-esque like inspired hairstyle, and that's kind of what I think tied into like the bigger than the sport story, right? It's like the Dennis Rodman, it's like a bigger personality than just surfing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's I'm super stoked on it, and I think it was a great choice
No,
overall.
it would work, but also because of the way the layout worked, I had the idea of sticking Youth on its side,
Yeah,
and it makes it that much more sort of unexpected and dynamic, and gives space for him. And and then obviously that was a sort of a precursor to the main article in towards the middle of the magazine. But he's such a big unit. It was, and again, I think Shannon wrote that one too, didn't he?
yes, Shannon did.
Yeah, and again did a great job of it. So yeah, it was fantastic. I love it. Yeah,
Yeah, no, it came out great. And then, I have to say Marcus Palladino, I think is how you pronounce his name. I think he's actually from up north, but he happened to be in Hawaii when Cole was
yeah,
there for the CT, and absolutely came through with some amazing action shots, and
yeah,
including amazing drone shot, which is my
yeah.
favorite.
That fabulous shot. That yeah, it
That
is.
drone shot was absolutely fantastic. And I think what we can do with the video, by the way, is overlay some stuff so they can see what we're talking about. I can
Oh, of course, that's a good idea. Yeah, you could play
but
the
yeah, maybe I'll
yeah,
overlay that in. But yeah, I mean, it ended up working out. We emailed him. We were like, shoot, we need a little bit more to the story. Like he's our cover athlete. We need a couple more action shots.
yeah,
Emailed him, pretty big following, pretty popular photographer. So we were like, we crossed fingers hoping he responds, and he got back to us like the next day, and was
yeah.
just phenomenal to work with. So yeah, I just want to thank Marcus as well for coming through
So,
there.
just a question to you: do you have any sort of favourite bits in it, or is it just old? Or what's your favourite thing about doing it?
My favorite thing about doing the magazine, probably,
Apart from talking to me,
what was that?
apart from talking to me.
Yeah, I like talking. Probably just building something kind of bigger than like just, oh, it's like Mikey and Carson's like brand that we're doing. Like it's getting to the point now where like there's people who don't know us at all. Like we don't know. I mean, it's a crazy thing, right? You build a brand, and sometimes like people don't know the owners, they just know the brand. It's kind of cool to
Yeah,
see like someone wearing the merchandise out in public. That was like probably one of my favorite things, is like seeing someone I don't know just like wearing a beanie, wearing a hoodie even in Mammoth, which is like 6 hours north of us.
Really, really.
So
So,
that was crazy. And so, yeah, that's definitely my favorite part. But with the magazine side of things, it's kind of my favorite part about it is doing something kind of counterculture. Like, it's not just like a layup. It's not just like another supplement company. It's not just another whatever digital video interview. Like, there's so many of the digital kind of journalism pages now where it's just like, you have Stab, obviously, the main one that has the most following, but there's so many others. So it's kind of like honestly getting that respect. My favorite part has been getting the respect, especially from like the surf community. Like
yeah,
you're doing something hard and like they really appreciate it whether it's like the journalists, the photographers, or even the other business owners in the business, which has been great. Like they've treated us great. So yeah, it's been awesome. I'm especially kind of growing up, not necessarily in the surf culture. That's more of Carson's bread and butter as he kind of grew up competing, surfing, and all that. But yeah, just how it's been received is amazing. So yeah, can't ask for more than that.
yeah. I think my favourite thing is the always when we're doing it is meeting all of the creatives around the world. Where
Yeah.
you're suddenly having to talk to people. Whether it's in Switzerland or Germany or France or wherever, and you've got conversations going on with people that you never knew before,
Well, yeah, and like the interviewing side,
mm,
like
exactly.
you kind of hit it on the nose. I don't. That's probably my favorite part. I have to agree with you. Like getting to interview really awesome people is the biggest. It's the
Yeah,
coolest.
yeah. And that grows your world, obviously. And you've from well, we met about this time last year, wasn't it? It was Marchish,
That's
March 8th.
crazy.
Yeah,
Wow, about a year. Wow.
yeah. It's just about a year, and now we've done 2 issues. It's fantastic.
Yeah,
And and it was just the three of us really when you and Carson contacted me, and now it's 10 or 12.
I think 8. But yeah.
Hey, oh,
So
well, we can engage.
you can include all the photographers too and stuff that
Did all of
are
that.
around us.
Doesn't. Yeah, it's that's right. But the core crew, if it's 8 that are the core crew now, you can guarantee it's going to be bigger soon as
Yeah.
people come on board. And if you included, say, Tio and whatever, it sort of
Repeating
grows up.
contributors, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's a beautiful thing, and it's becoming a beautiful thing. I'm so happy that I've become involved in it.
Yeah.
So
You know,
it's an absolute highlight of my life doing this.
absolutely. I mean, me too, obviously, but I have a lot less life, so it's a lot less of, but I think
Well, I was
I think
thinking,
it'll be cool to look back on, of course.
yeah, yeah. Oh, you will look back on it. You're going to be one day you'll be my age, and you'll be thinking back on when you did this.
But I'll be able to look at it. I'll be able to have it.
Absolutely,
I'll
you won't have thrown any away. There's
the
no way.
dust off of them.
Yeah,
But yeah,
yeah. And, no,
the
it's
other
good.
thing about I know I mentioned repeating contributors. Another name that I have to mention too is for like one of my favorite stories. They're all my favorite. They're all perfect in my opinion, but which is why we kind of went for them. But Sky Guyat, I think is how you pronounce his last name, but he goes by Transition Photography.
Yes, yes.
He had some amazing stories in our first issue, and then to come out with Rocco Jameson, who's a really up and coming talent, the
Yeah.
shots were unbelievable, and that was obviously we have Arrow's snowboarding story, but like to also have Rocco, which is like the upcoming talent,
Yes, yes.
plays at Big Air X Games, and then have amazing shots with it is just like I just want to thank Sky. Like Sky's a great dude. He's from Australia, but like you said, you get to meet new people, and I actually ended up meeting him in Newport. He was in
Right.
the States, and we met up, and he was an awesome dude. So
Yeah.
those friendships are just super
Well,
awesome.
it's sort of funny though, because I like there's times when I feel like here I am at the bottom of Australia, but at times I feel like I'm in the next room to you guys. It's apart from the time difference sometimes when my phone starts pinging off at 3 o'clock in the morning. you know? Like,
That, that's the only tough part, the time difference.
yeah,
And,
yeah.
we're about to
But
run out of time here, so
okay, well, might as
less
well
than a
wind
minute.
up. Yeah.
We keep going
All right.
forever, but
Yeah, we
I
could.
think that
Well,
was a
if you
good
want,
little first podcast. I don't know. Yeah.
yeah. No, well, thanks for hopping in. It's I'm, as I said, I'm absolutely stoked on working with you guys, and it continues to be something that I look forward to every time we start to do it again. I don't even feel like we never stop doing it because we're always talking about it.
Yeah.
I mean, I talk to you probably every other day,
Yeah, for
and
sure.
and and we're friends.